And for more on this, let's bring in retired General Jack Keane. He's a Fox News senior strategic analyst. This is the first briefing we've had this week, and I wonder if you could give us your assessment of what you heard.
Well, listen, Bill and Dana, what's happening here, you really cannot overstate the implications of what this blockade means to Iran and the incredible amount of leverage we hold now. I mean, President Trump has doubled down here on the Iranians, and we hold the entire economy and future of Iran literally in the hands of this blockade. We can absolutely cripple the economic viability of this country if this blockade holds. And the negotiations that we've seen earlier in the week and last weekend compared to where we are now are very, very different. I would expect the Iranians at some point here are going to come forward and surrender much of what we want, and we should get everything. Certainly, we take away the enriched uranium. There's no enrichment whatsoever. They dismantle all the rest of their nuclear enterprise. There is no moratorium. Even take that off the table completely. Moratorium of when they can get a nuclear weapon makes no sense. If you don't want a nuclear state now, why would you want one and permit one to have us in a subsequent presidency? It makes no sense. And obviously, restriction on ballistic missiles, no support for proxies, and the list goes on. And should add it to that list. They understand how far back on their heels they are. We don't unfreeze their assets. At a minimum, it's $27 billion. I think it's much more than that. Remember, Obama did this over the nuclear deal in 2015, close to $100 billion. Why don't we do that? We don't want to give them a lifeline. This isn't about face saving. The only thing we're not asking them to do is sign a surrender document. That is the leverage that we have here. And if we're going to do sanction relief, we don't even think about doing sanction relief until they prove to us over time that their behavior has fundamentally changed. That really is the issue, because we have to hold them to that. What they say and what they are wanting to sign is one thing. What they actually do is quite something else, because they lie and they cheat. President Trump gets all of this. He knows the leverage he has. Negotiations, back channel going on right now as we speak, maybe more formal negotiations coming. The leverage is significant on our side, and I think we're going to see a completely different outcome. And we have the threat of returning to combat operations. I don't think we extend the deadline. That's something they wanted from the outset, because the ceasefire is enabling them to reconstruct their leadership, to be able to communicate effectively again, and certainly do whatever they can in recovering the military to try to be more effective and protect themselves better than what they've been able to do. Let's just get on with forcing a deal that's everything that we want and nothing less.
Okay, so that's a lot. What I would add, General, is the ceasefire expires Tuesday right now on the calendar. That's the way it's scheduled. We heard some details from Colonel Joe Pacino right before we came on the air. He said a few things that I don't know if they've been out there, and if they have, we've missed them. He thinks negotiations are always difficult. At a minimum, this will be weeks further. I don't know if you agree or disagree with that. He said Mujtaba, the current Ayatollah, is underground, and they're passing notes to him. Can you verify, based on the people you have spoken to, as to whether or not that is the reality for the Iranian leadership today?
Well, to say that the Iranian leadership is fragmented, is something of an understatement. And certainly the negotiation team that we were dealing with in Pakistan was checking constantly with leadership back in Tehran. And I don't think we have a good feel for exactly who all the players are, or maybe more accurately, who actually is calling the shots. I think we know who the players are. There's 2 or 3 others back in Tehran in addition to the negotiating team. So yes, but there are back channels going on, and I think our senior people involved, and likely the president himself is involved in some of this. So there's a lot going behind the scenes, and that's where it should be. It shouldn't be out here in the public domain. And I think there's some very serious negotiations that will likely take place because of this leverage that we have now. The Iranians did not anticipate that the president was going to double down on them and take everything that they value away from them. We are talking about most of their entire revenue source is now in United States control. think about the fundamental implications of what that means. And yes, the leverage here is significant. I would like to see it end because we have all of this leverage as soon as possible, in other words, with a preliminary agreement, because the pressure is on them, and I think we should keep that pressure on them as much as possible. Of course, negotiations are complicated. They always are. But we have huge leverage here.
Are you comfortable? Well, and I don't even really know where this landed, but there was reports that the Americans put on the table that they couldn't enrich uranium for 20 years. Is that a number you're comfortable with?
Why would we want to have a moratorium? We had a 15-year moratorium under Obama. That meant in 2030 restrictions are removed and they can have a nuclear weapon. Did that make any sense? It didn't make any sense then. Why would that make any sense now? Why would a subsequent president, the President Bush, have to deal with something like that? After all, we're the country that's saying you're not going to become a nuclear state. Why would we underwrite them becoming a nuclear state 20 years from now? Does that make sense to anybody? I don't think it does. And just take it off the list. I think the president has already scratched it off the list.
Okay, that's what I was trying to find out. Great.
General, thank you so much. Really appreciate the rapid reaction on that and the analysis we got from the Pentagon an hour ago. Thank you, General.
Great talking to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.